So this loop for each topic. Now what we're gonna do. We have access to data sources, right? We know that there's access for data sources. I mean, there's a parent data source, but the parent is an object or a part of the child object, right? So the real object that we're gonna be sending, sitting here as the source of data, would be the object of that child. So we're gonna need a source of each, an object of each source, right? So we can have an object here, so we can add an object lifeline here. So give it a name or not, doesn't matter. So YouTube source. And let's say if we have another source, we can have it here. Now you see the order, the horizontal order doesn't matter. So YouTube doesn't come before Reddit. Whichever, it doesn't matter. Okay. So let's say Reddit source. If we have any other data source, we can add it. Okay. Now we're not gonna add details for Reddit, so let's start with it. So here we would find, or let's start with YouTube, and you can just know that this is the same is gonna happen with Reddit. Okay, so we have the objects of the data sources. What do we need to do for each topic based on the class diagram here? Yes. Find. Yes. Yes, so we need to call the find trendsetter per topic, and then inside of it, it should call the find popular function that is overridden in every child, right? So we should have a self call. Here. Now see, when this self call, I didn't add an activation frame because it's a very small function and we didn't want to add details to it. So if we can reduce the clutter in the diagram, we should do it, okay? If something is not needed to be in the diagram, don't include it, okay? But if we're gonna have a self call for a function that has significant steps that we're gonna need to highlight the activation frame for that function. Okay, so the activation frame starts with this call, so it starts here. Okay, so that's the call for the find trend setters that we send the topic to. So this is the one that we use inside the loop. Okay, so what does it do? Inside, as we mentioned, it will ask every source to find its popular. So there is a function that is overridden in every source. Now I can send the one to Reddit so that everything that comes in would be for YouTube. So I'll send the one here. And this will have its activation frame to indicate all the details of Reddit, how Reddit is gonna work. Okay, so this is called find popular. And then we send it the topic. Okay, and we do have the details of the YouTube. So when we send it to YouTube, we can work on the details. So this is not a self call. It is called to the YouTube object, and it is the same signature of the function, but it has a different definition in YouTube. All right, so that would be the activation frame. for that function. Yeah. Okay. Now we need to look into the YouTube class. We have already identified some functions here. These are the functions that we'll use in order to find the popular videos, right? So what should be the next call in the timeline here for YouTube? Yes. Yeah, so we need to get the popular videos. And if you remember, but we use the search. Now, when we before this, we had some experimentation with the code, right? And we know that when we get the popular videos through the search resource, it only gives us the snippet, which doesn't have the stats or the channel name, right? So first thing, we need to get the popular videos based on the search function, okay? Now that the search function is a detail that is inside the find popular video. You may choose to put it in the sequence diagram or not. I'm not gonna add it right now because it's gonna add some, like, just to reduce the clutter in the diagram. If you feel like we need to add it, we can talk about it, like if we have extra time, or we can talk about it next time. Okay, but generally speaking, we already experimented with the YouTube code, and we know that the function that is the way we find the popular video is through the search resource, which only give us the snippet that doesn't have all the details. So we're gonna need to have a self call here to the function find popular videos, and we give it the topic. All right. Now, remember when we were talking yesterday, we thought, okay, creating a request would be a good idea. Every time a request is needed, should be created through this function so that when a change happens in the way the request is created, we don't have to change in every location, right? So finding the popular videos would require sending a request, right? So there's a need to call the create request function. Yeah, so I'm not gonna create a frame for this because I'm not gonna add any details. So just create request here. Also, the details that would be sent to the request, I will assume that it is well known to everybody in the team. So I'm not gonna add it to the diagram. Okay, if something is already well known, doesn't need to be communicated or very obvious, then we don't need to add it to the diagram. Okay. All right. Okay, so now we have the popular videos. It might be a good idea that we have the popular videos as a shared resource so that every other functions can access it, right? So here's a refinement for our class diagram that we found. That we can add here. So once we are out of get popular videos, we can do whatever we want with the videos that were found. Okay. So this is the frame that is for the find popular videos. So we found the popular videos. What do we need to do now? Also, all of these steps also included inside the loop, right? So I have to make sure that the frame of the loop includes all the steps inside of it. Okay, now we found the popular videos through the search resource. What do we need to do now? Yes. Yeah, so we need to call the get stats to get the get the statistics to get more information about the video, and then later on we're gonna need to find the channel, replace the channel IDs by channel names. Okay. So that we need a call to find video stats. But that would happen for every video, right? So there's a loop there, right? And we're gonna need another loop inside this, so another loop fragment here. And then this is for each video. Okay, so for each video we need find stats. And we need to send it the video ID, right? So video ID. And there is some work that needs to happen inside this, so I'm gonna create an activation frame here. Okay, so what happens inside this find stats? We need to create a request. And based on that request, I mean, the details of finding the, like sending the lists, call and all that, we can add it or not. So I'm just gonna leave it for now. Okay. So there are some steps here that didn't appear in the diagram because it's not interactions between the objects I'm creating. Okay, that's just a choice I made. You don't have to agree with it. Okay, so what do we need to do when we have we get the stats for now inside this loops, we have one video, we send a request to get the stats. Let's say the stats and the snippets so that we can have the channel ID as well. Okay, so just a choice I made, we need to create a dictionary in order to accumulate the views, right? It's a subjective choice I made. We can have an object of type dictionary here. Okay, so I'm gonna say that we are gonna create an object of type dictionary. To use for to accumulate the videos. Okay, and because dictionary is a well-known thing, like everybody in the team should know what a dictionary is and how to work with it. Okay, so for the sake of simplicity, I'm just gonna say accumulate views. Views per channel. Okay, that's not a standard. So I'm assuming that everybody in the team knows what I mean by this. Accumulate views. Okay.